Welcome to the Journey Continues Podcast. Real voices, real recovery. Today, we have Mr. and Mrs. Winters on, and they're going to share their story about their son and also discuss the foundation and how that came about. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Yes, sir. So I guess you can, Mr. Winter, you can start off with your name, also your wife's name, and then we can get into why you're here. And I want to talk about your son.
Awesome. So why don't you start?
Okay, so I'm Wendy Winter, and my husband is Henry Winter, and our son Seth Winter was 20 years old when he passed away from an accidental overdose, fentanyl poisoning in April of 2020. And basically what happened, I'll tell you more about him in a little bit, but as a result of this and of him passing and because he said before he had passed that he wanted to go back to school to become an electrician, we decided we wanted to start a foundation to honor him and his legacy and his memory. And so we decided to start a foundation, a nonprofit that gives educational scholarships to individuals who are in recovery from addiction. And so the scholarships go towards individuals who are pursuing either a college degree or some kind of certification, like peer certification.
Commercial driver's license, too.
Commercial driver's license. We're really very inclusive and flexible about those kinds of things, as long as it's going towards their efforts to better themselves and further themselves as part of their journey. And so we really have a mission to get to know each person as an individual. So we spend some time with them when they apply and try and make it a little bit more of a personal process. So that's, in a nutshell, how we got started and why we got started doing what we're doing. Did you want to add to that, Henry?
Yeah, Seth was a really big kid and loved caring about people and connecting with people. And so, as Wendy said, when we started, we wanted to help people, but we just didn't want to send a check and just be a blank checkbook. We wanted to really establish a connection. So I think for me, it's kind of helped my healing, hearing stories from other people and sharing a little bit about Seth, I think has made my grief easier. It's also taught me a lot about the world of not-for-profit that I never knew. And I've kind of enjoyed networking with people, meeting people from across the country, being on various podcasts. And this is a journey I never imagined.
The other thing I would say that we had talked about before starting the foundation is we wanted to do something to try and minimize the stigma that goes along with individuals who are in recovery or active addiction, and just to be able to talk about these things openly, because there's just so much judgment around that whole topic, and we wanted to make an effort to make it a little bit easier for other people to feel comfortable talking about it as well.
Yeah, and I want to also add to something too. What I've kind of noticed from different calls that we've had, I think people in recovery are used to telling their story to their therapist and their sponsor, and I think they're used to sharing their stories in like NA groups. But I find that sometimes people really enjoy telling other people their story because it kind of breaks the stigma. So that's just my thing. I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. Now, a personal question. What challenges did you face, both of you, as parents, navigating such a devastating loss? And how have you supported each other? I know that you guys are a huge support behind recovery individuals, people who are in recovery. But let's talk about you. Let's talk about you two for a moment, because this could help someone.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing we both did was, well, of course we talked to each other a lot, and I think we tried to be as honest as we could be with each other while still going through that process of grief and loss and all that. Um, the other thing I would say is like we individually did work on our own, like finding different ways or different things that helped us. Like I found that being outdoors and walking and moving was really helpful for my well-being. Um, so I took a lot of walks in the beginning, a lot.
You also joined Soul Group too.
Yeah, I also joined an organization for moms in this basic Montgomery County area called Soul, Surviving Our Ultimate Loss. And it's a group of moms who have lost their children due to overdoses and other related matters to that whole thing. Many of our children also suffered coexisting conditions, mental health conditions, depression, anxiety. Those two seem to be pretty high on the list. So I would say, so those three things, like being in a group of supportive people, working individually, working as a couple together, and having a good community support system in terms of friends and family. Okay, so that's four things.
Yeah, and I was gonna,
Okay.
and for me, probably I would say maybe a week or two after Seth passed away, I get a letter in the mail from another dad in the area who also lost their son, and these dads created a group called Brothers in Grief, not as organized as Soul, and all during COVID we met on Zoom once a month, and it was just a way of us four dads. There was no agenda. It was more of a informal check-in. And then I would say for me it was going back to the gym, going on long walks, trying to get back into more like my normal rhythm of stuff, so to speak, work, gym, whatever. And I would say probably all of our friends and family have been very supportive and stuff. And then, as I said earlier, I think doing the foundation, like I was feeling hurt and I wanted to do something. Like most parents, they want to do something, but they just don't know what to do.
Hmm.
So I think I kind of joke with people that I found purpose for my pain, and then it seems like I'm going from purpose to passion because I'm taking every application seriously. I've tried networking with various recovery houses, and it seems like every time we meet a new connection, we get connected to new people as well, such as yourself.
Yes. Thank you for that. I didn't even ask you guys to share where you're from because the
Um,
accent is
so
not
I'm
from
from
Michigan. Where you from?
So I was born in Queens, New York, and I lived in Queens for 20, maybe 19 years of my life.
Hmm.
I lived for a year on Long Island. So I have the heavy New York accent, coffee, soda, pizza.
Yes.
Um, I'm a New York Mets fan at heart, but I like the
Hmm.
Washington Nationals. And then I've lived in Maryland since we've gone married almost, what, 30 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I grew up in Maryland in the Silver Spring area and went to college in New York, in upstate New York, and then came back to the area. And so now we currently live in Maryland, in Montgomery County. And yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any stories of scholarship recipients that inspire you and remind you why this work is important?
Oh, that's a good. I was gonna, as you started your question, thought you were gonna say, do you have any good stories of
Go ahead and
applicants?
share.
So, yeah, actually, I had one that, uh, um, it wasn't so much of an inspiring story, but it was really. it really made me realize how small this world is and how sometimes people's paths can cross.
Mhm.
And 10, 20, 30 years later, even though you may not know the person, you realize your paths crossed. So back in March, I was recovering from a stroke, and we had two applicants. And I was debating of canceling the call, but I'm figuring, no, I'm home, I'm relaxing, I could do that. And this one call was from a older gentleman. His social worker was also on the call, which was something new to us because he was a little technically challenged with IT, but that was cool. And he's saying, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and everything. And so it was like, thumbs up, scholarship already, just give me one more thing, right? And I asked him, have you ever sponsored anyone with their recovery? And he goes, no, but every time I was incarcerated, I would always volunteer for Scared Straight to, you know, remind kids they don't want to be here, right? Okay. So I shared a story with him that when I was 18, my high school had a field trip to a prison, not part of Scared Straight, but it was a law program. And I mentioned, hey, when I was 18, I visited this prison in New York. I mentioned the name of it, and I could see his hand going over his face as if to, maybe either hide the emotion, hide the embarrassment. I wasn't quite sure, right? But I vividly described in detail 37 years later what my experience, what I remember from it. Going through metal detectors, taking my belt off. 18-year-old kids in the 80s that I hung out with, we weren't visiting prisons,
Mm-mm.
right? And I said, I remember we walked in, the inmates sat, we were facing them, the teacher sat in back, and then we had lunch and so on and so forth. And as I'm telling the story, I see his hand going over his face even more. And I'm like, oh, did I bring back memories of what it was like, etc. And he finally said yes. And in 1988, I was 20 years old. I was incarcerated there. So it really like made me realize like this is a very small, I was not
Full
expecting.
circle. Wow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that's one story, and then we just recently got a applicant from a Pima Community College in Arizona, where Seth was supposed to go, and so that was a connection. Um, I don't,
For me, I would say whenever we meet somebody who's a mother and they have children, that's a real connection for me because of who I am. I'm a mom and I have children. We have two other children in addition to Seth. So whenever I hear their stories, it gets right to my heart. Yeah.
and then I was going to also say something else. What I try doing to make it a little more personable is whenever I email the person saying, hey, we're going to give you a scholarship, I try to bring something back from the Zoom call,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then sometimes we'll also dedicate a scholarship to either those that have passed away or someone that's in recovery on their behalf as well. So again, this has been a journey for me that I never imagined. We do annual memorial walks. Yeah, I used to volunteer for walks, but I never dreamed I'd be facilitating a walk. I'd be collecting shoes, etc.
Why don't you tell her why we collect shoes at the
Oh,
walk?
so Seth loved sneakers and he loved wearing expensive sneakers. And so with the whole, one step at a time in recovery, the logo of our foundation are two sneakers. I should have worn the shirt. I'm sorry about that. And so we collect sneakers at annual walks, and then we donate them to various sober living homes throughout Montgomery County or Maryland.
Wow, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what can communities know? I'm not going to use that question. What do you wish people understood about families affected by overdose?
Well, that's a good question.
That's a really hard question. I think people need to be open about it.
Mm-hmm.
And judging from hindsight, I think there are decisions that we should have made. I think we definitely enabled, and I think parents need to be more aware, and maybe I don't want to say make harder decisions early on,
Mm-hmm.
but make those tougher decisions earlier on. Um, I think this is just my perception. I think whenever something hits a family, people try to like bury it under the rug, hide it, and because of the embarrassment, the stigma, and I'm not sure if that's really the right answer.
Yeah, I think what I would say is parents need to be communicating with their kids at all ages about all kinds of things, not just about drugs or alcohol, but to have that sort of open dialogue from when they're young, so that you build upon it, you build that relationship, and you continue to talk to your kids as they get older about the hard things and not just keep quiet or not talk about it and that kind of thing. And also, I would say I would want people to know that it's not an easy journey to go through. And as many things as people might tell you, do this, don't do that, it's very difficult in the entire family, not just the immediate nuclear family that's living in the house, but if you're close to other family members or friends, like they're impacted by that as well, about what's going on. So I would say just for people to be supportive of other people that they see are going through a hard time, whether it's, from child using substances or passing or whatever it may be. Yeah.
And then I also think there's a lot of great groups out there for resources for the families of addicted loved ones. Nar-Anon, Al-Anon. There's a lot of great resources that I think people can truly take advantage of.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I totally agree. How can others get involved with your foundation? Like whatever, like through donations, volunteering, spreading awareness. And what I'm going to do is in the comment section, I'm gonna post your information if it's okay with you, the foundation's name, the website, and just let everyone know I'm a recipient of a reward that I received from Wayne State. I am forever grateful. That really helped me out. So I am grateful for you guys and anything that I can do to try to help with you getting some type of donations, because this is a great cause.
So one, definitely share our website.
Okay.
If you want to wear the T-shirt on your calls too.
Yes.
When we do our annual memorial walk, we also post pictures of it, and we've gotten a lot of people doing walks virtually, and so I share those pictures too. So if you want to put on the T-shirt, take a selfie, send it. We'll post it, and we say, hey, not only did we meet at this park, but we had people in Detroit, people in California doing it. One of my friends in Cleveland did a walk, posted pictures of her wearing orange sneakers.
Because that is the colors, right? Orange. I know orange yes, was the color I was seeing when I applied. Okay.
So we can definitely donate via our website.
Okay.
If people,
you want to say the website, but I'm going to put it in the comments.
Sure. It's SethJWinterFoundation.org.
It's actually Seth J. Winter Memorial Foundation.org.
If you go to Google and type that in, it's the first search that you get. If you want to donate sneakers to a local sober living in people's local area, please do so. And also, if they want to contact us, our contact information is on our site as well. Um, we love, I'm just saying, we love being on podcast state of Maryland.
Mhm.
And so that's how we spread our word. When we first started, most of our applications were from Baltimore, Maryland. And when we got the first application outside of Baltimore, I was like, oh my God, it's nice. And then 5 years later, we've gone Michigan, Hawaii, Arizona, Georgia, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the other thing you asked about is how could people volunteer or help out if they wanted
Yes, donations, because you guys are giving money.
to? Right.
Um,
So donations is
and that
one.
is a blessing.
Yeah, that's one big thing. The other thing is it's basically Henry and I, and we both work full time. If anybody wanted to volunteer to help out to make flyers, that we could post on our website, or anything like that, like that's where we struggle with getting the word out because we're not as good at that part of things. So if
Okay.
anybody had an interest in helping with that, and also just like sharing the name of the foundation with whatever groups they're a part of.
And I do understand that you guys are a 501c3,
Yes,
right? Okay,
yes.
so we just want to put it out there because people, if we have corporations that want to give, they will get a tax write-off. So we're going to do everything we can to support this.
All donations are fully 100% tax write-off.
Yes.
I was going to say too is if anybody wants to send us links of various recovery houses or I'm trying to think of the word recovery centers with points
Okay.
of contact,
Mm-hmm.
that can work too. I think a lot of what we've done has been via like word of mouth. I've gone on Facebook, on various sites. That's how I've met people. We got referrals from
Yes, I'm a referral.
Yeah,
um,
we're tapped into the local community
Yeah.
in terms of different resources and organizations that are already helping individuals in recovery. So that's been really good too to get the word out.
right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we give away T-shirts with each person. So whenever they're maybe doing a walk or something, they can wear the shirt. Which, hey, that's a really nice looking shirt. Where'd you get it? And it strikes up the conversation too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
trying to think if there's any other ways of helping. That's really
about
Yeah,
all.
I'm sitting here thinking too.
Yeah.
So I have about 2 more questions for you guys.
Sure.
If your son were here today, what message do you think he would want to leave with us?
Ooh.
Because every picture I see, he's always smiling. Like, he always had this big smile. Like, he is just enjoying life. And from what I gathered, he was a very spunky, outgoing kid. We'll say child.
Yes.
Young adult.
He had quite the sense of humor,
Yes.
and he loved to make people laugh. And so I think the message he would say is people should enjoy life. Be kind and compassionate to others. And what else would he say?
Well, I think he would say, "Don't make the same mistake I made."
Mm-hmm.
Is what I would hope he would say. I think people have said, "Hey, I know your son is smiling down at all the hard work that you guys are doing." So that does mean something to us.
Okay.
I know that's a tough one.
It is.
Yeah. I apologize, but because he's always, when I went onto your site, you had the pictures, and it's like, wow, he just looked like this vibrant.
He was big.
He was just always smiling, like, you happy. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, Seth was about 6'1", 200 pounds, big kid.
Mm-hmm.
and a big overgrown teddy bear. And he would bear hug everybody. He would make people laugh. And I mean, that all comes back from when he was a little kid. He was just a goofball.
Mm-hmm.
So that part never changed.
My last question for you guys. What words of hope would you share with families who are walking through similar struggles?
Um, so I'm going to quote something from Narnon. There is hope. From a family perspective, I know part of my French, it sucks. Okay, it does, but it's you've got to put your feet forward, and because people need you. Our daughters need us, our family needs us, and there's life out there, and it's okay to be sad, it's okay to grieve, but there's something that you got to do, right? I don't mean do a not for profit, but I'm just saying there are things out there in life that you've got to conquer, and so just I don't know, just put your feet forward and try to put a smile on and take the next day.
I would say to be open to the fact that things can change and that there is hope. And it also takes real work to make that happen. It's not just wishful thinking. You've got to take steps, like active steps, to make that happen. But it is definitely possible.
Okay. Okay. You guys did a great job. Very impressed. I'm very impressed. Thank you so much. And Henry, I did not know that you had a stroke. You look fantastic. I did not. I wouldn't even had. I didn't know that. So wow, God bless you. Yeah. And just as a person in recovery, and for you guys to have lost your child, I know what it feels like to lose a child, but I don't know what it feels like to lose a child from addiction. So I can't even imagine, but I can imagine the pain of losing a child. So I just tilt my hat and commend you, because a lot of people, if I lost my child, I don't know what I would do. I would do this. I would kill myself. And you guys are the definition of strength and hope for other families and parents who have lost someone and just don't think that they can go on and don't know how to get through it. You guys are a walking testimony. You're doing it, and you're doing the work of your son. You're pretty much taking his tragedy and turning it into hope, and that says a lot about your character, your morals. So I'm just grateful to have you here. And as I told you before we got on, this is my first Zoom. I'm always doing everything in person, but I knew it was time to have you on, so you could share your story, so you can help other family members who are struggling, who don't know. And not only that, to discuss the foundation for Seth and what it does for people in recovery. This gives people in recovery hope, like, oh my God, someone is believing in me. Someone do believe that I can make a difference in this world, even though I done messed up my life, right? So I am just appreciative. I am grateful for you guys. We're going to put the information in the comment section on how they can reach you, how we can try to get you some donations, how we can get some volunteers. I'm especially going to be speaking to people at Wayne State, tell them about this foundation, social work. So we love this type of work. We love foundations like this. So I'm like excited to get the word out, and I have been talking about you guys. So I am like really excited about this. So I will post your information in the comment section. And until next time, family, Journee Continues Podcast, real voices, real recovery.
I do have one more thing to say. Maybe sometime next year, if we take a road trip, we can be in your studio live. And
I would love that, because I'm a hugger. I would love that. I would love to give you guys a hug. Oh my God, because when last time I met you, I was boo. Girl, it just came out. I just felt like, look, I gotta tell y'all what's really going on with me. So yeah, I would love that you guys come down and we do an in-person, a follow-up podcast.
Sure. That'll be on my calendar.
Where we're at. Yeah, I would love to meet you guys. And you know I'm from Philly. So coffee is my thing. Soda. Yeah, soda pop. I don't know nothing about pop, but I know about soda.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Yes, no, thank you. So again, Journee Continues Podcast, real voices, real recovery. Until next time, we're going to see you guys soon.